So, hello everyone. We have Anshika and me here, and we are starting with the session now.
Hi everyone.
Anshika, you can start now, I think, on open source.
Okay, live. We are live, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Okay. Hi everyone. Okay, we'll be starting the session now. So I'm sure nowadays you are all listening a lot about open source platforms and hearing a lot about the ongoing Hacktoberfest and wonder what it is. Also, even after having an account on GitHub, you still feel confused making PRs or creating repos. No worries, we got you all covered. We'll be covering a lot of stuff today. First of all, we'll talk about open source. What is open source? Version controls, GSOC, that is the Google Summer of Code, Git, GitHub, and we'll be discussing few of our projects as well. Our very talented speakers for the day will give you a hands on these platforms as well and will tell you about the same. So I hope we at DSC BVP help you in having a good Hacktoberfest this year. Over to you, Himadri.
Yeah. So, so I will start with what is Hacktoberfest. Hacktoberfest, I can explain Hacktoberfest in three parts: what, how, and why. So, what is Hacktoberfest? It's a youth celebration of open source to spread awareness about open source. And how can you contribute in? You can contribute in like two ways. You can have the advantages of open source in two ways. First of all, you can create your own project. You can create your own project, open PR for it, and then merge it. Or you can just look for issues that's that's there like on the whole internet, on the GitHub or any other, on the GitHub majorly for the Hacktoberfest, and then you can make changes according to you if you find anything suitable, like if you want to add any feature on a ongoing very large or small project, and then you can make a PR on that. We will explain you how PR works and what it is and how you can make a PR. So next up, what are the values associated with Hacktoberfest? The first value of Hacktoberfest is everyone is welcome. Whether you are a noob, like who don't know about what open source is, what Git or GitHub is, and how to create repositories or make a PR on any project, you are welcome. Or if it's your 50th PR on any project. Okay, second of all is quality is fun and quantity is key. Basically, it aims to your personal growth, professional growth, and community building. And after, at last, it is short-term action and long-term impact. Basically, we are standing on the shoulders of open source is basically standing on the shoulders of who worked previously and made small snippets of code, or and that only code is this large, where we have Node or Kubernetes and etc. So welcoming our speakers, we have Gaurav and Arpit. Gaurav is a DevOps engineer at eValueSoft, and he will be explaining us about what is GitHub version control, and he will be giving us a hands-on on how to do things. So, welcome, Gaurav. He will be joining us soon. Um, yeah. So here's Gaurav.
Actually talking about is how to use Git and what GitHub is. So this is going to be start of your open source software journey. So to begin with, I'm Gaurav Jain. I'm a DevOps engineer at eValueServe. I love anime and I'm always the imposter. So I'm red as us. Okay. Actually talking about is how to use Yeah. It's going to be start of your open source software. So yeah. So I'm a DevOps engineer at Developer. Yeah. Sorry about that. Mm, yeah. So I'll give the overview of what we're going to be doing today. I'll show you how to install. I'll just tell you how to install Git and how to make a GitHub account. And after that, set up Git in what is the base one of the things that we need to do once you install Git. Then what Git is, because we'll be talking what Git is, and show you how to use it. And then there's a really nice surprise for you guys. Alright, so let's install and create a GitHub account. So to install Git, I'll be sharing this PPT so you can use these resources. Depending on your operating system, you can do the following. If you're on a Linux-based system, you can run the following command. Or for Mac and Windows, you can just go to this link, git sem. So here you can download your particular version and start running. So once you install it, it's gonna install something like this. Git bash. So this is basically a command line tool which you can use for anything Git related. For Linux, it's going to be baked into your command line system, whatever you're using, usually bash or LSH. Okay, so GitHub account creation, not that hard. You just need to go on github.com, then make an account. There's an option to sign up. You just sign up, and there's nothing big in that. It sounds like a big step because a lot of people have not made it, I assume, but this is one of the simplest steps that you can do. Okay, now you have this terminal. What are you going to do with it? So first thing that you need to do is run these two commands. That's just to configure your username and email. Just copy these commands into the terminal, and once you do that, your this terminal is going to know your name and your email address. It's going to be helpful in your commits. I'm going to tell you what commits are in a short while. So, what is Git? So Git is something that was, if you know this person, you should know this person. He's Linus Torvalds. If you're using Linux, he has made the basis of whatever you're using right now. So in order to help this development, Linus Torvalds created Git as a side project, and we have to be thankful to him for making it open source and free for everyone. So thank you, Linus Torvalds. Okay, now what is it? I've been talking a lot about. So Git is a distributed version control. Now that's a big word with version control. What distributed version control? Version control is what you use on whenever you're using Google Docs, for example. You can go to the history. You can see the versions of whatever changes you've made. It keeps track of that. So that is the main thing of any version control system. So why do we use it? Well, we're humans. We mess up, so we have to go back and see what's going on. And that's one thing. The other thing is, just seeing whatever was there, and depending on the reason, it can change. But we need to have versions of things. So one of the main things that can happen is, for example, you have a project that you're working on, and it runs perfectly fine. You add a feature to it, and nothing else works now. You try to go back and back, control Z, but it's a mess now. You can't really do anything. But if you have a version control system that's keeping a snapshot of each version, or if you just keep a backup of each version, you can go back to your previous code and start working. So Git does this. It keeps the history of everything what you've written if you do it properly. You don't even need the internet because it's a distributed version control. Everyone has their own version of the simple code. So I'll explain that in a second. But you can work on it without internet or whatever, and it can save your life. You should use it. So this is going to be a hands-on kind of session. So I'll be showing you things and explaining these terms while we're doing things. So first thing first, repository. Must have heard this term sometimes. We're talking about Git. Repository is nothing but a project, right? It's what you call a project. It's a repository. Kubernetes repository is a Kubernetes work, or the Kubernetes project. That is the repository for Kubernetes. It's just another name. It's a container for a project, basically. Okay, so I will show you how to make a repository now. This is GitHub. You just go on a new, so you can just create a new repository. So hack test. Okay, that's the repository. Now I'll make it public and create. So this is the first step you're going to do whenever you start a new project. Okay, so let's just um, okay, mm, hmm. so mm, I'm going to use this particular repository for this. So the first thing what you're going to do is, let's come to our commands. Okay. So these are the commands that we will be using. So there is a repository. I created a repository on GitHub, but I need to create a copy of this repository in my local as well. So what you're going to do is we're going to start this here by doing wait. As you can see, this is empty, right? I'm going to do git init. Still shows empty, but you can see this folder. Hotkey. This is just a folder that's keeping track of the changes that's been going on in my local machine in this particular folder. Nothing has changed here. The any change is going to happen only. The only change that's going to ever happen here is when we push or pull or fetch. So I'll show you. Okay. So just so you know, all of this is going to be like this whole PPT is going to be shared to you, so you don't really need to do this simultaneously. You can just start. So this is the first command I'm going to show you, git status. This is like a really important. It's basically like console log for you. So it tells me which branch I am on master. You can also see which branch I am on here. It shows that I have not done any commit yet. There is no commit. It's telling me that I can add a commit by tracking things, but this is just information. So what I'm going to do is now touch readme.md. Okay, so it's one file now. Okay, this file is untracked. What does untracked mean? Untracked means whatever changes that has been done here, that is not being tracked by Git right now. So how do you do that? In order to do that, we just git add repo. Now, changes to be committed. This is what's called staging area. So, okay, I'll give an overview in another sense. Basically, the whole thing is that I gave you the thing that you can create a different copy or you can make different versions of the file. So, how do you segment your code or segment your work in versions? So, the thing that is called commit. So, what happens is you have work here, you do more changes from your common base, it goes this changes. So it just tracks the difference between this and this point of your code. So that's how you know what to do. So that is a commit, right? So you have your working area, that's where you're working right now. So this is in the working area right now, readme.md. Then you go to your staging area. That is, now this file is in the staging area. It's not a commit, there's no commit yet, but this is in staging area. So I can like create another file. So and now this is in working area, this is in staging area. So whatever in the staging area, I can now commit. So commit, I need git commit. Oh, okay. Now this file has been created. There's been one file changed. Master branch has been added, and this is the commit message. So if I do the status now, as you can see, nothing added to commit, but that's just messages you can whatever. So there is an untracked file. You can now use this command as well, the git log. This shows that there is a commit. Now there's still nothing here. So in order to do that, I'm gonna create this. This is basically adding a variable origin with this URL. This is the URL of this particular repository. Right. Now, what it does is whatever changes I've created in my local, it pushes from local to remote. Remote is GitHub. So what did we do? We created a file in the working directory. We added it to the staging area. From the staging area, we went to local repo. From the local repo, we clone it to the remote repo. So the whole thing is now, even if I delete whatever I've done here, I have a backup of the changes I've done. So I can just check my comments that this was the commit that was made and this file was created in that commit. Okay. Git log. Okay. So this is what happens when you're doing just work. You're working alone. But if you're working with a friend, now that's the problem. That's when a problem arises. That's you're doing some changes, your friend is doing other changes. How are you going to manage that? So what you can do, you can have a project at a similar point. So this is a common base. Then you can create your own branch. Your friend can create your own branch. Your friend does code, you do some code. Your friend's code is not in your code is not in your friend's branch. But then you can just merge it. So I'll just give you an example. Right now I'm on the master branch, right? You can see by looking at here. So I git checkout the this is how you make a new branch. So new branch has been created from the this previous commit that I created. Now I can just uh, so I'm gonna create another file, touch readme -3.md. Okay, and I'm gonna add this one as well. Then I will come with this readme 3.md. Now this is one commit. So what I have done from here, I've been here. So I will create another commit for this one as well. So in order to change branches, which branch you're working at, you just do git checkout and the branch name. Then git, I will add the readme.2 that I had. Whatever I've done, now every change, everything has happened on local. I did not require the internet yet. So in order to push my changes to local, I'll do git push again. Git push origin master. So I'm pushing to this repository, this branch. And I also want to push the other new branch. So both these branches have been pushed. Now you can see a visual of what's going on. So we have this new branch and we have a master branch. So if you're gonna look at both these branches, this branch has readme.md and readme.md too. This branch has readme.3 and readme. So this readme is the common base that both of them had. This one has readme 3, this one has readme 2. But now we need to merge both of them. So what we're gonna do here is we can, as this is my own branch, I can just merge it. What I can do is git merge. This is a commit that I want to merge this branch to this branch. Now you can see this. Now you will be able to see this.
I'm pushing whatever we've done the local again to GitHub. Now you will be able to see. Okay. Now the changes of this branch is come here. This is like automatically merged whatever we've done on the new branch to the master branch. Okay, so this is how you merge things. This is how you merge whatever two people have done into a single code. So this is okay when you're just having your local, like just a couple of friends are doing work. But how will you work? So the thing is, the main point of Git and open source is people around the world can do this. So this kind of thing cannot be done around the world because this requires people to be able to communicate easily and all the time. So in order to do that, what we do is we do a PR. You've heard a lot what PR is. PR, full form of PR is pull request. So what does that mean? Let's come back. Pull request. You're just proposing some changes to some. So you found a repository that you really like. For example, you like the Node.js repository or you like the Kubernetes repository. You found some changes that you could do. You do those changes, but you are not the owner of that repository, of that code. You can only propose that please look at my code, and if you like it, pull it into your own code. This might help you. So that is a PR, that is a pull request, and the whole point of Hacktoberfest is to encourage people to do these pull requests. So there is a higher amount of open source contribution. So I'll give you a demo of how to do PRs. But the thing is, there's been a thing that's been going around because of Hacktoberfest, because they give free swag for just doing a couple of PRs. People are doing a lot of really bad PRs. So you're supposed to make sure that you do good PRs. So quality of your PRs are really important. What do I mean by that? I mean is you are actually inputting something that's actually necessary. You're not just going and fixing docs. That is a really, really bad thing. And that is something that that takes a lot of time for the maintainers to go through. So that's really spammy thing. So that's a really unethical thing to do just for some free t-shirt. That if there is a repository like I'm going to show you that wants people to do PRs for Hacktoberfest, simple PRs. That's good, but don't go to big repositories like Dino and Node.js and do not good quality PRs. That is something that I really request everyone. So um, uh, we really request you guys to go to this link in the description. Here, this is what we as DSC BVP have set up in order to do. This is a very simple thing. Uh, Here you can create your own name. You can just write your own name and write your own code. I'll show you how to do it once. But yeah, this is a really, really fun thing that DSBVP has set up. Shout out to them, guys, for setting this whole thing up. So what I'm going to do, first thing, so this, I can't really touch this repository myself, right? If this is not mine. So the way to do it is you create a fork out. If I click on right now, it's DSC BVP ND / Hacktoberfest, right? I click on fork, a fork here. So it's forking this repository and creating a GorovGen 98 Hacktoberfest. So it's created two because I already have a Hacktoberfest repository. So ignore this two. But now I can do some changes in this. So what we have, you can see the steps here. Hook this to your profile. Okay. Start this as well. This is lovely work. So let's just follow these steps that's been given here. Clone. Okay. So what does git clone do? Git clone clones a repository to your own local. So when you do a git clone, so you can see git fetch. This is when you already have that repository on your local. Git clone copies that repository from remote to your local. So whatever changes have been done are going to be copied to your local machine. So here you can see, I can go to Hacktoberfest. All of these files are present here. Last commit is by Madhu Sharma. So if I do git log, you can see these were changes done by Madhu Sharma. Update MD. Okay, so we've seen into it. Let's open this in our editor. When you open this in the editor, you have to go to contributors MD. Just write your name here. Everyone will love it. Love to know who contributed in this repository. Now you have to go to the index.html file here, and this is new open source. You just come here around line number 128. From 128 to 141, just copy this and just replace these two things. We would love your contribution here because this shows that you are willing to start open source. So okay, and replace your username here. Now I've done these changes. Now we use git status. We modified the contribute MD dot and index here. So we add these two files here. Add contribute MD, index here. Now you check status. Both of these has been modified and now they are to be committed. Now we add, we do a commit. Sorry. Changes, right? Yeah. Now we have committed these changes, so these need to be pushed. Now I am pushing it to my master. The thing is, this is on where we are pushing is gauravjain.hacktoberfest, not dsc.hacktoberfest. So in order to reflect your changes on this website, because this website is only taking changes from DSC BVP ND/Hacktoberfest, we go to the pull request tab, new pull request. So base repository, head repository. That is, this is the head repository, the feature tip, where I have done my changes, and this is the master branch. This is the base repository where you want your PR to be merged. I propose that please, whatever changes I have done here, just take those, add those changes. Someone can see, you can see what all changes you have made. So make sure that the changes that you have done are good changes and quality changes. And then I can just create a PR. You can write a description of what all you've done. Okay, you can refer to if you're fixing an issue, you can even go to issues. So yeah, I forgot to tell you this. I'll show it in our proper repository what issues are. But what all changes you've proposed. Now you can just, you should actually fill this up. Here we don't add it. Got it. And okay. This is a description, so the maintainer can easily see what's going on, and you create this. Okay. Now I am back to DSC BVP. You can see the URL, and this is a this is a pull request by me. So a maintainer can just merge this. They'll have the option to merge it. So you can git checks if there's any conflicts and everything. That is something you learn as you go forward. How to what are conflicts, what are how to resolve them and stuff. So I would love for all of you to do this, and whatever your changes have been merged, you can uh, you can see it on the, you'll be able to see it on this website once your changes have been merged. I don't have the right to merge these changes. Okay, so this is a PR, and if I go to Hacktoberfest, um, so you go to this URL, hacktoberfest.com, and here you can register yourself for Hacktoberfest. So if I logging in, once you log in with GitHub, now my commit for DSC BVP, I created this other commit as well. So my commit has been recorded. So according to Hacktoberfest, I've done 2 out of the 4 commits. One of my 4 requests that are valid. 4 valid requests have been done. Then I'll be eligible for that T-shirt, which everyone knows is lovely as hell. So I guess I've done everything. Checkout has been done. PR and 4. That's pretty much it from my side. If you guys loved the talk, or if you have any thing that you want to talk about, or if you have any doubts regarding this, you can contact me here. This PPT will be shared to you guys. So that's it from my side. Hmm. Um, the two.
Thank you, Gaurav Bhaiya. That was really informative. We learned a lot. Now we'll be starting with the next speaker. Can I have the next PPT, please? Okay, our next speaker for the day is Technologies, and he'll be telling us about GSOC and how to work on open source. So, welcome, Arpit Bhaiya.
Hello guys, am I audible? Shall we start?
Yes, we can start.
Okay, okay. Do I need to turn on my camera as well? That's fine. Okay, I will be talking to you about GSOC and open source contributions in general. So, what that means is what Gaurav just told you about was Git and GitHub. These are tools for collaboration. Let me just turn on my camera. Okay. What Gaurav just told you about were tools for collaboration, Git and GitHub. What you want to collaborate on are the open source projects and this GSOC that I'm going to talk about. The GSOC is a program by Google Summer of Code, and they tell you to contribute to various projects that they select and that you apply to, and then you'll get a chance to work on for 3 months, and on a particular project that you chose, and Google will pay you for it. Now, let me give you a bit of an introduction of myself. My name is Arpit, and okay, my name is Arpit, and what I'm gonna tell you about is GSOC. I am a software engineer currently working, and I was working for Mozilla last year. I was working on the Firefox browser itself, and yes, if my contributions are online, if you want to talk to me about that, reach out to me later. You can reach out to me later, but not for this presentation. So one thing I want to tell you, there are a lot of famous open source projects out there. You may not even realize that a lot of things that you use daily are open source and are not generating directly revenue. Things that are free and open source. What does that mean? So the Linux kernel is completely free, and a lot of Linux distros built on top of it are completely free and open source. That means that you can go and modify the source for it. The same goes for Android. The reason you see so many companies use Android is because it is built on top of Linux. And if you're working, say, as a web developer, anything you do with React or Node.js is open source completely. It is currently using an engine called V8. V8 is an engine created by Google for parsing JavaScript. It is public as well. It is open source as well, and this one open source project V8 is used by Chromium, Node.js, Electron project, and a lot of different things. So what the open source allows you to do is create a project, and people will find different uses for it. It is not just one thing that you create for your use. People will come and contribute and modify it for their particular use case, and that's what allows open source projects to get really big and massive, because potentially you have people from all over the world who can contribute to your project. So that was about me. So Google Summer of Code, I participated in Google Summer of Code in 2019. This was a program started by Google in 2005, and just last year there were around 1200 students from 63 countries and 200 open source projects that applied to it. So how it does work, let me tell you how it works. Google Summer of Code, Google every year allows a certain number of organizations to apply for the Google Summer of Projects. Google Summer of Code projects, they list them, and as a student you will have to apply to that organization and submit an application to it. What is that application? That application will be what you want to work on for the next 3 months. Now, all that will come a bit later. If you're a complete beginner, this stuff should not matter to you. Before you even start with Google Summer of Code, you should have some experience with open source contributions to begin with. Google Summer of Code is not the only program. There are other programs as well. I have this PPT will be shared with you, so you can find this link easily. Or if you want to copy this, you can find a lot of different open source programs. GSOC is the main one because I mentioned, because that was the one I was a part of, and also the other thing I want to say is there are a lot of other programs. So Outreachy, there is Railgirls, the Linux Foundation itself. So I mentioned the Linux Foundation. There is a Linux kernel, but the Linux Foundation is not just the Linux kernel. There are a lot of different projects that work under them, and a lot of different projects that they contribute to or they donate money to. So if you go to the Linux Foundation website, there are a bunch of mentorship programs you can see. There is KDE. KDE organization, they create their own Linux distro called Kubuntu, and a bunch of different products that go along with them. All are open source. So what you want to do is you go to this link. Anyone that is interested in open source programs, go to this link and try to find out what all projects you can apply to. Sorry. The other main one that I want to mention is Outreachy. Outreach is only available for women and girls, not just students. When I say women, as in people who have graduated as well. Outreach pays you as well, just like Google Summer of Code, and it is targeted towards women and people of color or backwards background. I would say outreachy women, any girls who are watching should definitely focus on or look to outreachy as well. It runs in parallel with Google Summer of Code for the summer. It in India, for the northern hemisphere, it is available in India in the summer. It also runs in the winter as well, but it is not available in India at that time. You cannot apply if you're Indian. There are a bunch of other organizations. Do go and look at them. So one thing I want to talk about is why you should care about open source contributions. Like how does it affect you? How it can help you? Things like that. So experience on a real world projects. So what does that mean? So open source projects, big ones that people use daily, are real world projects. And what does that mean? When you're working on a project at college, at your with your friends, that can be a complicated project that you're building, and that's fine, but it will never be as big as, say, the Firefox browser itself, which is millions of lines of code. Dealing with a large code base and a smaller code base is very different. And the reason for that is, even though you're using the same language, say you learn to use C++, but working on a big project is not about writing code, it is about reading code. Reading other people's code and understanding a lot of code is the biggest effort you will have to make. You need to understand other people's code, and that is what a real world experience for a real world project means: reading other people's code and understanding other big projects. The other one is coding skills, or as I have marked it as development skills. I see these as two different things. I'm making a distinction here for beginners and more advanced people. So what that means is, when you're just starting out, you pick a language, you try to solve some kind of questions, you try maybe get into competitive coding, and those are great skills to have. But development is more than just writing a simple piece of code. Development means developing a piece of software that someone else can use, maybe and something you're collaborating with other people, and developing a proper product or something, not just a small script that solves some kind of mathematical problem. And that will come, that is directly linked to real world projects, and that you'll find in the open source world. Collaboration with a team. So when you're working, say you're doing a competitive coding, that is all on your own. In the real world, you will never be working alone. You will be working with a team. There will be a manager, there will be a designer or some kind of product manager. It's not that involved in open source, but you will have to collaborate with other programmers. You will have to explain your approach to them. You will have to explain everything you do, and document everything you do. This is the kind of approach that is required when you're building a large project. This kind of why is that required? When you come back and a year later or 6 months later, you need to understand what you did, and other people need to understand what you did. Understand, like I've said, reading code is very important, and that is the biggest hurdle to understanding a code base. So documentation and explanations about your code and collaborating with a team will come to you easily if you have some experience with open source. Job prospects. So these days companies try to look for open source experience with that people may have. So what that means is, you go and show them a real world project that you have contributed to. A recruiter, when they see that actual code that you have contributed, the code that you have written, instead of just writing something in your CV, they can actually go and look at the pull request that you made in a particular repository. That is very valuable, and something you can really talk about in an interview, and to impress people if you want to. Community outreach. So what does that mean? Teaching people, telling people what you've done, helping other people. Community outreach is this live stream that you're watching. What I'm doing right now, I'm talking to people, and I'm telling people what my experience was, and I'm trying to help people. So if that's something you're interested in, you can tell people, other people as well, and they can get involved with open source as well. Something that can improve different kind of skills that are not directly related to coding, your soft skills, if you care about that. So something now you have some prerequisite knowledge of Git. What should you do next? So go and find a project that you want to work on, something that you're interested in, something that you have some experiences. If you are a complete beginner, don't jump into a project. Do not do that. You will just confuse yourself. Instead, go follow a tutorial, whatever else you want to work on, and when you have some kind of experience, come back and then look at the repository. These are some guidelines I have. So tips to start: read the contribution guide. So what that means is, there is often with big organizations and even smaller projects, there is often a contribution guide telling you what to do exactly. Like this is just a general guideline I've given you, but they will give you a detailed guideline on how to contribute to their project, how to run their project, how to communicate with them. So communication is a very important part. I will come to that later. You should clone their project and run it before you even do anything. Clone that project and run it. For that, that seems like a very simple thing, but setting up your development environment is a very important part, especially when you're jumping between a bunch of different projects. After you have cloned the project and you're comfortable running it and understand a bit of what it does and how it's working, go to the a channel like where they talk. So every organization is talking on a different channel. Someone is on IRC, someone is on uh, Discord, someone is using Rocket Chat or something else. Just go and introduce who you are. Find bugs to work on. So a lot of different organization will have labels to say this is a good first bug, and you can attack this bug, go and work on this, and try to find those kind of bugs before when you're just getting started. So when you find a project that you want to work on, find a ask them if there is someone else working on this. This is a general etiquette to work on a project. If you want to solve a particular bug, ask them if someone else is working on it or not. Ask them if you can take up this project or not. Propose a solution. If it is particularly complex, something complex, discuss it with the project maintainers, and after you're done, make a pull request. This is a general guideline. You will once you start contributing, you will understand how these things work. Tips to succeed. This is directly for GSOC as well, not just for the general open source, but these are some things that you must look for. Good communication. So what that means is, always explain yourself very well. Have good if your English skills are lacking, go and work on them. If people can't understand you, it's not going to work, because people from all over the world are working. People from Italy, people from Canada, people from different African countries, a lot of different people, and they communicate in one language, that is English. And not just I'm not just talking about your grammar skills. I'm talking about how you explain yourself, how you explain your process, how you explain what you've done, and what you're gonna do. That is for good communication. Help others. What that means is, there is generally uh, okay, help others. How you do that is, the project maintainers are trying to help you. When you go to a communication channel and the chat, you try to ask some questions. There will be some people who will reply to you and try to help you run the project. This will almost always happen, because you will always run into problems. So it is the responsibility of the project maintainers to help other people get started. But when you are a contributor, you should try to help others as well, who run into the same problems you do. Because oftentimes in programming, it happens that people run into the same problems again and again. And for GSOC in particular, if you want to be visible in the eyes of the mentors, and be visible in the eyes of the contributors, you need to keep making contributions, make regular contributions. Uh, that doesn't mean that you spam them, but be regular. Some kind of contribution graph that if you can show them that you have contributed this many commits and this many pull requests, that is very valuable. The next thing is meaningful contributions. Now, what that means is this directly links to the Hacktoberfest thing that Gaurav was just talking about. And do not spam their repositories. They are not waiting for anyone to make contributions. If you're not making any kind of meaningful contribution that actually adds something to the project, something that they actually require, something that can improve the project, then it is not worth doing. If you want to just, if you're just getting started, editing a small readme file and changing grammar, improving the language is completely fine if you're just getting started and it is useful to the project. But if you're not doing it in good faith, if you're doing it like a lot of people just did for Hacktoberfest to earn a small t-shirt or whatever, don't do that. It will just ruin your reputation. It is because your work is visible. This is open source and all your work is public and visible to other people. Then I say do your homework. What that means is if you go and ask for help, before you do that, try to solve your problem on your own. Before you try to uh, approach other people, asking for help is not a bad thing, but at least make sure that you know what you are talking about and what kind of solution you have tried as before this. This is a general thing you will encounter whenever you start working professionally as well. When you're talking with your colleagues, asking them for help before you ask anyone, because they're very busy, they have their own thing that they're working on, and before you can approach them, always make sure that you have tried something and you can then ask them for help regarding your problem. Then again, particular to GSOC requires that you write an application for your project. So what that means is proposing a long-term project that you will work on for 3 months. Writing a great application is very important. If you have a good history with the of contributions to your particular project, that means you can tell them you have worked on certain things, but you also have to be able to plan in advance. What that means is you have to write down everything that you will do for the next 3 months for your GSOC project. So resources for this, there are two kinds of resources I have linked here. There is Geeks for Geeks, CodeChef, HackerRank. These will help you improve your competitive coding skills. Now, these are important when you're a beginner, but this is not the only thing you will work on. You will be working on proper technologies that someone has already built on. You will be working on a React project, something to do with maybe PHP, some machine learning project that is using machine learning framework, and learning all those things are personally I learned directly from Medium, Dev2o, and these resources. Go and read other people's blogs. Make it a habit to learn something from your domain every day. Read a blog or two every day, and not just for those things, for open source experience as well. Just go and find a lot of different blogs, read other people's experience, because all GSOCers are not the same. Everyone is applying to a different organization. Everyone is working on a different project. Go and look at what they worked, how they worked on it, who they were working on it. Everyone has a different experience. Go to Medium. There are a lot of articles. Go to dev.to, a lot of articles. And if you want to learn more about GSOC in general, just go to the GSOC FAQ website. You will find a lot of different resources to understand how things are working. So that was it from me. These are my contacts. You can find me on Twitter. Follow me on GitHub. If you have any doubts and stuff, just email me. This is my email. This PPT will be shared with you as well. So I guess that's it. Are we doing a question and answer session? I guess we're done.
Okay. Thank you, Arpit Bhaiya, for that amazing keynote. And we will be moving on. Now, thanks Gaurav Bhaiya and Arpit Bhaiya for covering how to contribute and why to contribute. Now I will be covering where to contribute. So, no, people don't know कि कहाँ पे जाए हम, कहाँ पे pull request करें, या फिर कौन से repo पे ढूंढें. So first of all, as Gaurav Bhaiya mentioned, If you just want to get started, we have made a beginner's repo on DSC BVP -ND /Hacktoberfest. It is just a basic repo. You can create any pull request there. Plus, we have a few more forked repos on our GitHub that we will be opening for Hacktoberfest. Otherwise, if you don't like any of these or don't know how to contribute to any of these, DigitalOcean makes a list of few repos themselves. So you can just find those on hacktoberfest.digitalocean.com. If you scroll down to the bottom, there are a few more repos, and you can sort those by any language that you prefer. So there are a few in C++, and you can just go there. Yeah. Plus, if any of you have any more repos that you want you want people to contribute to, you can always contact us, and we will be forking those on our GitHub. Now, one major issue that people have is what to contribute. So what to contribute? So I will just be covering the basics. So first of all, if you don't know what to contribute, कि मैं वहाँ पे जाके क्या PR मारूँ किसी भी repo पे जाके. So the first thing you can look for is in the issues. Like one issue is on our GitHub only. That is the URL doesn't work. One of them is wrong. So anyone is free to correct that. You can look for other in other repos कि क्या करना है. Plus, you can always go to GitHub का explore section. It has a list of repos that suit you. You can and go to any repo that you like and contribute your contributions there. So yeah. A few more things that I want to cover is a few more repos that have. Yeah. Is a certain number of companies make their repos open for Hacktoberfest. So what they do is they offer extra swag if you like. There's a repo by the original. They are wait, sorry. Okay, wait, sorry. This is not a repo. Yeah, so there's a repo AppSmith, which is offering T-shirt, sticker, and keyboard, which wants you to create or get one pull request merged with him, and they have their requirements for that. And there are many more repos. Like Devfolio has a few repos, and their requirements for you to get extra swag, they are offering stickers and T-shirt to top 50 people, and there are many more repos. Yeah, it's on the Hacktoberfestswaglist.com. Yeah. So and one more thing that we have a basic explanation for Git ready for you guys. If you have any doubts, it's over here. It's url.dscbvp.dev/git. Or if you want to know a list of commands, it doesn't cover all the commands, but it has what are the major commands. It has a list of all the major commands. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone, and we will be ending the stream.